If you have downloaded my book, you know that the one technology that I don't talk about is the belt drive. The reason for this is that having a chain drive still gives you significant performance advantages. For one thing, especially on a small wheel bike, if you want to have a really wide range, you can have a dual or even a triple chain wheel, which is not possible with a belt. Also, in the rear cogs for belt drives tend to be kind of large, so you cannot really dial it down into the small 10-11 cog size that the chain drive gives you. Nevertheless, a lot of people are interested in it, so this video is going to be about your various options for belt drives. But before I begin, I would like to note that there is an advantage to having a chain drive and the performance that comes with it. My bike was, look at this guy trying to pass me. He's not going to pass me because I switch up to 700 watts and he has fallen into the trap. He probably doesn't even know he's being recorded. And I have an entire playlist. If you go into my channel and look at the playlist, there is one called Humiliations, which is how I christened this kind of activity to film road bikers typically who try to pass me but have not succeeded during the last 7 years. So this is something the chain drive can give you. But on the other hand, if you have a belt drive, the belt drive is not as high performance. You can only have one chain wheel that you see here. The rear wheel is probably always going to be a lot more than 10 or 11 cogs, so you cannot have a really top performing wheel in the rear. But on the other hand, this setup is absolutely silent. There is no oil. It is very lightweight. It's just a great ride. It's a very smooth, very silent ride, which cannot be replicated with a chain. Is supposed to last for a long time, but let's be real, this is a piece of plastic. It cannot possibly resist stretching and last as long as a chain drive, no matter what people say. But I've never owned one, so I cannot comment on this. The first bike I'm going to look at is the Alex Moulton. This is a fairly recent TSR model which used to be on the market up to a few years ago. And this was the first time that Moulton tried an honest effort to incorporate a belt drive into their bikes. Unfortunately, the model failed on the market. Not many people bought it, even though the consensus was that it was really easy to upgrade to a sophisticated hub gear, either the Shimano or even the Roll-Off. Notice that a chain can be separated, but the belt drive cannot. This is a single piece. So whatever length of belt you need for your project is something that you have to obtain in exactly the correct size down to the millimeter from Gates, which is the manufacturer of the most popular kind of belts. And since it is one piece, and if you have a triangle in the rear, you would have to be able to take it apart. That's why there are these screws here and over here as well, because this triangle has to be separable in order for you to ever be able to install or to replace a Gates belt drive. Now, on the positive side, notice that this is a beautiful installation. It was done by a professional manufacturer, so there's not a bit of a slack anywhere. Also, to achieve this, in addition to the frame, in addition to the triangle being separable, you also have to have an adjustability here, a kind of a tensioner. This is not a derailleur, but it is something that allows you to eliminate slack by pulling it back. And of course, this can be annoying because every time you remove the wheel and you take off the belt, you will have to make adjustments over here. And on both sides, you are looking for the same kind of tension. So if you're pushing it back by say 90 millimeter here and 88 millimeters over here, this centerpiece, the hub, is not going to be straight. And so it's kind of annoying to do the installations, to replace a flat tire because you have to take apart everything. It's just not an easy thing to maintain. This is another Moulton that we recently looked at a video, and you may want to look at that video I did on Moulton bikes, not all of the necessary belt drive. This is a very sophisticated aftermarket installation. Here you see that they installed a roll-off hub. Since the frame is separable, you would have to separate not one but two wires that go back into the hub. So this is the way they solved it, by attaching this piece of metal which is not part of the original design. And this is a very expensive frame. Look, there is a space frame element even to support the seat post. So this bike starts at minimum $10,000. You look at the rubber suspension in the front. This is one of the more expensive Moulton bikes for sure. And I do notice a little bit of a slack here. Not a lot, but a little bit. It does not have that back and forth movement. What you see here, that back and forth movement, they do not have it here. So you just have one fixed position, and I guess that makes it easier to install and uninstall and to get to the wheel if you have a flat tire. But at the same time, I do see a little bit of a slack. So it's not the beautiful tight look that you get from the TSR. What you have here does not seem to be much of a tensioner. Maybe there is a bit of a tensioning there. I think it's really just to hold the belt to the rear wheel, to the rear cog. Unfortunately, this kind of a custom work is very difficult to achieve. It is also risky. Look, they broke the rear triangle. This is a $10,000–$15,000 bicycle, and they sawed open the rear triangle, which is something I would not have done. And now there is this weird screw mechanism that reminds me of the hub gear connection on my Brompton. And it just looks too fragile. So this is not recommended. This is very expensive and very edgy. I have mentioned previously that there are many of the old 60s, 70s steel Moulton bikes on the market. You can get these frames for as little as $700. And check this out. Because it has no triangle in the rear, you don't have to drill anything. You can just put a belt drive system onto this thing, which makes this kind of an old frame, even though it's a classic, even more magnificent. And they did some work here because this is chromed. It looks beautiful. Also, the front fork has been chromed. I don't think the originals were ever sold in a chromed version or nickel plated version, whatever this was. So some work has gone into this frame, but it's just basically being cleaned up, and it's still the old 70-something design. Heavy, but certainly very open for this kind of modification. So if you want a Moulton that has a belt drive and you can't get one of those TSR frames that has a factory installed belt drive, then I guess this is your next easiest option. And here you can see a much more contemporary space frame Moulton, and it has the chain, not the belt. One of the most amazing features of the Brompton frame is that there are so many variations of it because of the aftermarket. If you are familiar with this channel, then you know we talk a lot about kinetics. Kinetics is probably the most well regarded and biggest operation for Brompton support. And these are some of the jobs that they do with a belt drive that is installed into a custom triangle they make. The triangle obviously is separable, so there are all these screws here. And amazingly, they managed to upgrade the original tensioning arm into something that functions with the belt drive, which is quite amazing. Not to mention that the two cables you have going back into the Brompton hub, which Brompton never ever sold with their bikes, is also machined into this triangle with an integrated luggage rack. It's really an amazing job what they are doing over there. Here is another example of it without the roll-off installation, but also with hydraulic disc brake. And it looks very real. The tensioning is excellent. It looks as good as any factory installation. And here is the folded version of it. Now, because the tires are bigger, and somebody installed my favorite tire, which is the Schwalbe Big Apple 2-inch wide tire on a smaller 305 wheel, the fold is a little odd looking, but it still folds. It's still the same Brompton fold, but a little bit bulkier. And you can see on the background how the belt also follows the fold just as it does with the chain drive. Since this is a belt, it does not need to be super tight. So this little bit of a lax that you see here is not a big deal. Frankly, even if you had a huge amount of lax, even if the belt itself fell off of the cogs, it would not be a big deal because they are not oily. There is no oiling, no lubrication going with the belt drive drivetrain. So you can just push it back with your finger once you unfold the bike, and that should solve your problem. Here is the Birdy roll-off, which is probably the best roll-off installation you can get. This is the only one you can get out of the box. Unfortunately, Birdy does not sell a belt drive system, amazingly enough, because it would really work. And it's nice that they don't have a triangle either. So this is the same kind of system we saw with the old Moulton design from the 70s. You have no triangle, so you have no separability to worry about. Can you just replace this cog and the front chain wheel and get a properly sized Gates belt that is going to work? I guess it might work depending upon the width, the spacing you have here, because the belt drive is going to be a bit wider than a chain. So I don't know. But if you did it, you would also have to replace the tensioner. You would have to put tiny tensioning cogs into it that fit. Similarly, what you see here, this is actually the standard Brompton tensioner, but the tensioning cogs have been replaced to things that are compatible with the belt drive. So I don't know if you could do this, but if you chose this option, at least you wouldn't have to worry about the rear triangle, and you would have a very nice native roll-off installation and also hydraulic disc brakes front and rear. The only upgrade you would have to worry about would be the belt drive. Nobody has done it, I've never seen it, so I cannot recommend that you go ahead and spend $5,000–$6,000 on this bicycle and then find out that maybe you cannot install it. There's really only one belt-driven small wheel bike that I do recommend, and that is a Prodrive. This is out of the box with a lot of options. There are some criticisms against this bike, but overall it's an excellent design. It was definitely made for speed. You can't really put in any wider tires than what you see here. This is that awkward 349 millimeter, 16¼ inch diameter that the Brompton came up with. Very few bikes or trikes use this size, so there aren't many tire options, but you can certainly get enough for racing. This bike is really only good for short range commuting and racing. It's not a touring bike. You could make it comfortable, and they also sell a Shimano hub for the rear, but because of the rock hard teeny tiny tires that you have to run, I don't recommend it for long running trips like weekend excursions and touring and things like that. But on the other hand, if you want something that's really light, very quick to fold, just for some short commuting or just for sports, then this is a great option, not a cheap one. You have a belt drive, and notice that if I change from chain to belt, you are adding about 200 British pounds to the price just by wanting a belt option. They will sell you a chain option or a belt option. You might as well get the belt because you really cannot do much of any tuning on this, the way this bike is set up. There isn't any space for you to replace this chain wheel. You could put in a smaller chain wheel, but not a bigger one, because it's going to rub. And notice that once again, instead of a triangle, we see a single arm that goes back to the rear hub, which just makes everything so much easier to get to the wheel. And obviously replacing a flat tire should be a snap, because you don't have to separate a triangle. Here is more of a close-up of the belt drive in a beautiful frame. This is a carbon fiber frame. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And you can see there are some screws here, but this is not a separable triangle. These screws are just to install the brake. And you also see that you really do not have any space to put in a larger chain wheel. What you have is what you see here. So the fold is really easy with this one. It's a unique fold. The rear fold is actually the same as the Brompton, because you fold under the frame and it has the same arch as the Brompton, but a far more solid frame with no brakes on it. It was really designed not so much for the super compact fold, although it is compact enough. You can definitely get it into a revolving door or put it on your desk. It's very slim. It's an incredibly slim fold, and the front doesn't fold at all. And the steering column just drops down. It just hangs on the left. It doesn't really attach securely to anything, and that you can see right here. So the Brompton is still my preference for an easy fold, but this is a remarkable idea for somebody who wants a really rigid, very lightweight bike just for sports or short range commuting. This is it for the current video, and I expect your remarks below, and I'll see you in the next one.